Welcome back to The Takeout. The WNBA is facing some culturally turbulent waters on and off the court, and this time it doesn't have to do with Caitlin Clark. But it does have to do with Chicago Sky's Dejounte Carrington, who was ejected after fouling Indiana Fever's Sophie Cunningham. That was on Saturday. Now, a foul in a WNBA game would not necessarily warrant the attention of this program, but then something happened. After she was tossed from the game, Carrington posted on social media, quote, "White privilege." Cunningham, we should note, has been vocal recently in her support for barring transgender athletes in women's sports. And today, former NBA player turned conservative activist Enes Freedom, when he played in the NBA, he was known as Enes Kanter, submitted a letter of intent declaring eligibility, at least he says so, for the WNBA draft in protest against trans athletes in sports. Freedom, Kanter, claims he's eligible under the WNBA's vague rules. Doug Feinberg and Jennifer Sey join me now to discuss all this. Doug covers the WNBA for the Associated Press. Jennifer is a former U.S. gymnast and the founder of XXXY Athletics, an advocacy group for keeping trans athletes out of women's sports. Doug, let me talk to you first because you wrote a story late last week about a memo that the WNBA commissioner submitted and the subsequent dialogue it's trying to forge. What do we know?
Well, Major, Commissioner Engelbert put a memo out to the presidents and GMs on Friday afternoon, basically trying to address the trans issue that is creeping into the WNBA. It's a very delicate topic. She's trying to be respectful and thoughtful for what could be eventually an issue, although right now it's not. There are no trans athletes that are in the WNBA or have gotten the WNBA. So she sent the memo out. There's a task force that they've had that they're going to have a meeting this week at some point to discuss things. Nothing imminent is going to happen, but just trying to be thoughtful and respectful of obviously a complicated subject.
Jennifer, the collective bargaining agreement for WNBA players, Article 13, Section 1 reads as follows. Only players who are women are eligible to play in the WNBA. Does that sound vague to you, or is it vague in a way that's important?
It is vague in a way that's important because they don't clarify what a woman is. And we have a Supreme Court justice who says she doesn't know what a woman is. Under the law in many, many states, and 23 states, in fact, if you say you're a girl or a woman, you are. And that trumps actual sex, and you can compete in girls' and women's sports. So it is very necessary to define it. The IOC has done so, and they will test for sex at this next Olympics in 2028. And the WTA, the Women's Tennis Association, has also just announced that they will test for sex, and all of the top players support it. That's all that we're asking for. And I would push back a little bit. We have no idea. This isn't about trans in basketball. This is about men, male athletes playing in the WNBA, women's NBA. That's what this is about. And we don't have any idea if there ever have been any males playing in the WNBA. We want to draw a boundary. I think that's the right thing. I think she should get on board with what the WTA and the IOC have already done.
The Professional Women's Hockey League and the National Women's Soccer League, their collective bargaining agreements have language very similar to the WNBA. So from your perspective, Jennifer, are all three of those women's leagues vulnerable to this particular issue?
Yeah, I mean, there are many that suspect. I think it's pretty clear that in the NWSL, there are males that are playing in the Women's Soccer League. They are not trans. They are male athletes with DSDs. They've tested as such in other leagues, but they don't test in the NWSL. They don't even test for drugs in the NWSL. I mean, they need to clean that league up. We need clean sports, and we need women's sports to be for women. And yes, they are at risk.
Doug, what is the general sense within the WNBA and those who cover it about how it's handling all these things that seem to find their way into the cultural conversation of America that are not necessarily basketball related? White privilege is about a foul, but it's about a lot of other things as well.
You know, Major, you hit the nail on the head there. I've been doing this for 20 years, and it's unfortunate that great basketball is being played right now. It's one of the best seasons ever. CBS is one of the broadcast partners. It's had great ratings because of the great play. Olivia Miles, one of the most talented rookies they've had in a long time, is playing great. Caitlin Clark, we mentioned before, a lot of great things. So people wish they were talking more about basketball, stuff going on the court than off. But listen, the league's grown in the last couple of years. More eyeballs are on it. Social media's helped it grow. So they're discussing it, but really it's something in the background in some ways. The Dejounte Carrington foul, she just came on social media about an hour ago saying that the white privilege was not in relation to the foul that was called against her, the flagrant that got her ejected. She didn't say what it was in reference to, but unfortunately, that's more the conversation than actually the really good play that's going on the court this season.
And Doug, to follow up on that, I'm not a huge WNBA fan, but I do pay notional attention to it, and it just seems like it is a league beset by player frictions. Am I misreading that?
It's beset by a lot of things, player friction, maybe some of it, although, to be honest, I think all the players seem to get along. They understand that the growth of the league has happened the last couple of years with players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese coming in and helping it grow. So I think they understand for the most part that you sort of the golden gooses, you don't want to kill the golden egg or golden goose, whatever that phrase is. So I'd say player friction, the foul. Dejanay Carrington's made that play many times on many different players, black and white, and just so happens that Cunningham made a good play, so she got fouled as opposed to getting blocked. So it wasn't a Cunningham thing.
Jennifer, just to follow up on the Enes Kanter of it all, do you regard that as a stunt or something that is meaningful and should be regarded as something that's not a stunt?
He's calling out the absurdity of this situation and the ideologues who have said, if you say you're a woman, you are. He's making a mockery of the people who have made a mockery of women's sports. It's necessary. Yes, it's funny. I'm here for it. He just declared himself for the 2027 WNBA draft. Why can't he? I mean, I think it's hilarious that the people that are mad at him, it's because he's pretending to be a woman, not as hard as some other males are pretending to be women. It doesn't make any sense. He's pointing out the absurdity of self-ID, and that is very necessary. And he's doing it in a way with humor that is easy for people to understand. So I applaud him. I think it's great.
Doug Feinberg and Jennifer Sey, thank you both for the conversation. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.